Live from the Heart and Mind Studios in beautiful Minneapolis, Minnesota, it's another episode of Seriously Mental with Chris Shaw. Tonight's guest,
Tony Housey. And musician Jeremiah Rich.
As always, Seriously Mental is filmed in front of a live studio audience. Member. Now, please welcome your host, comedian, and peer support specialist, Chris Shaw.
That's me. Hi, how are you? Welcome. Hey, Chris Shaw here. Welcome back to another Tuesday evening here for Seriously Mental. Seriously? Yeah, seriously. I guess, yeah, it still is. Seriously Mental, the show where we talk about subjects around mental health, mental wellness, suicide prevention, and life. Our life, your life, all our lives. The times of our lives, the days of our lives, days of thunder, thunder cats, and Cats the musical. Wow, that was kind of went off the rails already right there. So we were playing that word game this weekend, you know, where somebody says a two-word phrase and you have to come up with another phrase from the second word. That's what I was doing there. And you tuned in for it. Welcome. Chris Shaw here from the Heart and Mind Connection. We are a nonprofit organization here in the Twin Cities that works around education and advocacy, around mental health and wellness, and we're peer run. All of us, peers in our own right. And that's pretty darn cool. I am excited for tonight. You know, we have had shows in the past, but this is going to be another one of them. So I'm pretty excited about that. Great guests on tonight. We've got Tony Housey tuning in from up in the Camp Ripley area. He is he's a retired staff sergeant with the Army National Guard, and he's going to talk to us tonight about his work with the Military Mental Health Coalition and their upcoming conference that is normally done live at Camp Ripley, but it will be done virtually this year. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and how that's going to work. Pretty exciting. I've actually had the opportunity to do some training classes up at Camp Ripley, and I know some of you are saying, no, Chris, I doubt that. So what I say to you people is believe it or not. Get it? That was Camp Ripley joke. Kind of Ripley's. And work on that. And we'll tell me when we start, Gabriel, because I'll probably want to do that one over. And, oh boy. Oh yeah. And then we have musician Jeremiah Rich, who, if that name sounds familiar, it darn well should. Not only because he's an incredible musician and is really breaking onto the scene heavy, but he was here a couple of weeks ago. And we talked about how much we loved his music, how his music ties into stories about recovery and addiction. And he's pretty prolific and broke out a couple of new songs. And we asked if he'd come back and jam those out tonight. And sure enough, he's here. You know, I am a big lover of the music situation in the Twin Cities. A lot of people know that I'm kind of a quasi-musician myself, you know, but one thing, I don't even know if I've ever told Gabriel this before, because, you know, I don't brag about it, but right out of high school, I actually signed a 8-album deal with Columbia Records. Yes, thank you. Eight records for a penny, and then as long as I promised to buy 3 more in the next 2 years. And I didn't. I had to move because they will find you, man. I tell you what.
What was the name of the band?
They really want you to. Dude, was I talking too quick? Did you not get it? What was the name of the band? He says.
Oh Oh boy.
Those Who Don't Pay Columbia House Records was the name of the band. Anybody remember that deal? You could do that eight records for a penny. Yep. It was awesome. Kind of back in the day when you would buy things out of the back of Archie comics, like sea monkeys. Yes, and Mom, I want sea monkeys. We don't have a pet. I can keep sea monkeys alive. Little did I know they were brine shrimp that they sent dehydrated in the mail, and then you dropped them in some water, and then they tasted really good with like a little butter and lemon after Mom said they died. So I've never been really good with pets. We do have our pet, I guess we call her our mascot, Millie the dog. She'll probably come down and join us tonight because she's a big fan of the music situation as well there. So we'll have her jump in. But we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'll join you over at the desk. Stick around for some more Seriously Mental. Yeah.
As we weather the COVID-19 pandemic, remember to not only take care of your physical health, but also your mental health. The pandemic news and uncertainty can trigger feelings of loneliness, despair, and hopelessness. You might also feel irritable or on edge, especially given all the changes that have occurred in a short period of time. Good self-care is the key to reduce anxiety and keep your spirits high. While so many of our normal activities are disrupted, practice kindness. Be patient with your loved ones. Eat healthy. Avoid turning to addictive substances. Get enough sleep and move. Physical exercise is good for mind and body. You will feel better for it. Let's fight COVID-19 together.
Yes, I am.
Hey, welcome back. That word from Magellan Health. I hope Greg down in Baton Rouge happens to be watching tonight. I told him that we play that commercial that he was like, hey, I know that one. So we'll talk about Greg in a little bit. I did want to talk about something, Gabriel, can I pull something up if I share on my screen here over top of Tony's face in just a minute? So give me a second here and I'll pull it up because I mentioned Greg from Baton Rouge. Greg is a producer of documentaries, and much like we had done back a couple of years ago, where we did some work securing some rights to doing screenings of the Ripple Effect film, we have done the same thing with another film that is out that was released just recently. And this is a film, I'm going to pull up the poster here. And if you would, let's see, where did I put it? Where did I put it? I just put it up there. I want to share it on my zooming, on my voluminous zooming. Hang on a second. There it is. Okay. Can you share that for everybody? So this is
screen.
There you go. What'd you say? Full screen?
It's on the screen.
Yeah, there it is.
Screen.
Yeah, so it's a film called My Ascension, and that refers to the Ascension Parish in the Baton Rouge, Louisiana part of the country. And this is about this lovely young lady who, we talk a lot about in suicide prevention and in mental health, how very often trauma can be, we're getting a little feedback here. Is that my top mic? That very often trauma is the root of where a lot of mental health develops from. This is a story, though, that doesn't have that kind of background. This is a woman who grew up in a very nice home with a very loving family and parents, and was fairly well off community, and she was a cheerleader and very popular, and yet the pressures that she put on herself really overwhelmed her with depression and anxiety. And sadly, she made an attempt on her life. Much like the Kevin Hines story, though, she survived that attempt, but found that she was paralyzed. And it is the story about where she went from that, and all the things that crossed through her mind at the time and since then, and what she's done to really make a difference in the world of suicide prevention. So we're really excited that we're going to begin showings of that film around the state of Minnesota here very soon as we can begin to make some headway with connection with some people about where we might be able to show this. And now that people are able to get back out again, we'll do it in big open spaces. Maybe in the summer we'll do it in some outdoor venues. So we're really looking forward to the opportunity to bringing that to the people of Minnesota and surrounding communities, you lovely people there in Wisconsin. We'd love to do it with you too. So in just a minute, we will have our good friend Tony out here with us. What else did I want to say this week? Gabriel, what happened with you this week?
What's that?
Did you do anything fun this weekend?
No, I didn't, man.
No, I didn't do anything.
We still have COVID around there. You can have fun.
Oh, man. Are you getting that vaccine?
I already got both of them.
Oh, well, see, then you can hang out with me. I could actually let you out of that booth we keep you locked in. And I had no idea that you were all vaccinated up. I got my second shot, which the first shot was actually the vaccine for COVID. The second one was distemper. And so...
You can still keep wearing your mask.
Thank you. Is that for me or for everyone else?
Oh boy,
doing everyone a favor by keeping my mask on. So let's welcome our guest this evening. He is a retired staff sergeant who spent 22 years in the Army National Guard. And when he turned over to civilian life, he continued working in the realm of, I'll let him tell you a little bit more about what he does up there at Camp Ripley, but I had a chance to run into him a couple of years ago in talking about bringing, anybody remember the Humor for Heroes tour? We were planning on being up there for a stop on the tour, and 2 days before we were supposed to be at Camp Ripley, we got a call that they said they're doing a blackout drill the night of the show, and feel free to come if we wanted to, but there would probably not be anyone at the show or any lights or sound, which was kind of a key part of the show that we were doing. So, but we have kept in touch over the years, and who would know that in this wild world of mental health that we would run back into him in the realm of his work that he's doing through the Military Mental Health Coalition. His name is Anthony Housey. His friends call him Tony, but between him and I, he makes me call him Mr. Housey. Would you please welcome to the show, Tony Housey.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Got a little clapping going on there. I love it. Oh, man. Thank you so much for being patient. It took us a little while to get him on board today with my Zoom capabilities. You would think at this point in COVID that we would all kind of know what we're doing with Zoom, and I am still fairly clueless.
Yeah, it might be one of those things that we miss once everything goes back to how it used to be.
That's right. I mean, when you think that you don't necessarily have to drive, I don't have to drive all the way up to Camp Ripley, and plus I don't have to put pants on when we have these conversations. So
how disappointing is it when the boss says, "Hey, we're all going to have a meeting in the conference room"?
It's a whole different deal. Tony, thanks for being here. Tell us a little bit about your career in the service and how you've kind of transitioned in civilian life to continue to do work with military.
Well, I started out like a lot of 19-year-old kids, with my hair on fire and ready to go and do all kinds of crazy stuff for the Army or whatever military branch you get into. And I showed up in the recruiter's office and I said, I want to be a tanker, and this is where I want to be. And I ended up in Germany after doing basic training and whatnot, and learning how to drive 70-ton tanks. I ended up in Germany for 6 years and deployed quite a few times out of that. Went to a lot of different places. Got the T-shirt and the coffee mug for a bunch of different countries around the world. And after all those deployments, came back to the States, and I said, I've done 6 deployments. I think I'm ready to calm down a little bit. I'm going to finish out the rest of this contract with the National Guard and then see what happens after that. And of course, within 6 months, we deployed to Iraq again anyway. So it all just kind of came back around for me. So, but eventually I landed a job at Camp Ripley, which was a huge benefit for me. I was able to use some of the skills that I learned in college with media and photography and things like that. And I switched over to public affairs. So I stopped shooting tanks and started shooting cameras.
Nice. I bet you worked that one up, didn't you, for a while?
Yeah, when people would ask why a tanker would switch over to kind of like an admin job like public affairs, I used to say that Camp Ripley was tired of wasting film, so they needed a one shot, one kill kind of a person to get the shot right away. So
that's awesome. And so how long have you been doing that up there?
I did public affairs for the last 6 years of my military career, which was great. Got to go on a lot of different trips and activities and be part of different venues. And, they always say that media relations kind of has a backstage pass to everything. And it was really neat to get in the mix and a ton of different stuff. Once I retired, I kept the role as a public affairs representative, and I've been working up there for the past 2 years now.
I don't think many people know. I mean, most people in Minnesota know about Camp Ripley, but I don't think many people are familiar with just all the different things that happen up there. Even beyond just the weekly, weekend a month and 2 weeks in the summer training with the Guard. Tell a little bit about all the other uses that Camp Ripley gets utilized for.
Yeah, when I took over kind of the public relations, community relations desk there, I was explained by the garrison commander, Colonel Scott St. Sauver at the time, that Camp Ripley had 3 kind of solid stigmas. One was that John Wayne led a cavalry patrol out every morning. The other was that, the tumbleweeds would get swept away just when some soldiers would come by with their trucks and, for marching or rifle training or something. And the other stigma was that we kept the nuclear missiles there and stuff for Minnesota. So
nice.
It was my goal, or my task was to help wash those stigmas away and explain what Camp Ripley does. Since then, we've really explained about how that 53,000 acre state-owned, federally funded facility has expanded to not just federal trainings and whatnot for a lot of out-of-state units, as well as our National Guard, Army, and Air. But the Marines come there to train, the Navy comes there to train, doing under ice training in the winter, and a lot of different activities. Our law enforcement comes up there to utilize our facilities to conduct their training. There's a ton of activities that go on there every day.
Yeah, and so that I didn't know. So when I was up there last year, or 2 years ago, when we had actually, when you had held this upcoming event up there live, I remember coming out of the barracks hotel that I was staying in and seeing a garrison of sheriff. And I'm like, oh my God, they found me for that record thing. Oh no. I was really surprised. Why are all these police here all of a sudden? The Army's already here. Why do they need the police? So yeah, that was pretty surprising. But yeah, the fact that it is how big is the facility again?
The total reservation is 53,000 acres.
Wow. And
So that's about 18 miles by 6 miles, give or take, here and there.
yeah, and what's cool is I remember being there when they are out firing the tanks off.
Mm-hmm.
And you can hear that stuff. I also got to ride in one of those tank simulators, which was bizarre. And I was like, wow, for what the government pays for one of these tanks, wouldn't you think that they give the three guys in there a little bit more room?
After some time in there, it really becomes a pretty nice, cozy little RV on tracks, so it's nice.
Your foot out of my face. I'm trying to fire this thing. Well, great. We're going to take a quick break, Tony, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about what this Military Mental Health Coalition is all about, and really your mission, and then what this upcoming conference is supposed to do for the public and for the military. So stick around. We'll be back with Anthony Housey right after this break. Hey, this is a cute new commercial we've got, so check this out.
Man, I'm about to fly this thing myself. This autopilot is being crazy. I think it's bipolar or something.
Well, that makes two of us.
What's that?
I have bipolar disorder, and I'm your co-pilot. You and me have been flying a long time, and I know you don't think I'm crazy, but you might want to watch what words you toss around.
Wow, this guy in 7A is crazy. He just ate his 12th bag of nuts. He is nuts. I mean, leave some for the rest of us.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah, he was crazy hungry, I guess.
Is this crazy?
Yes, that was crazy.
How's about this? How about that? Was that crazy?
Yeah, I've got to admit, that was pretty crazy.
Wrong. Nobody's crazy. Using those kind of words alienates peoples, makes them feel like it's them against the world. Plenty of us got mental health conditions, but that doesn't mean we're crazy.
Wow, I never thought about it like that. You know what? I'm gonna go give the guy in 7A some more nuts.
Woo! Crazy. That's crazy, I think. I don't know if you could see that at home there, Tony, but somebody remind me who that cartoon is. Those characters are from what show? Say that again? Full House?
Soul Plane?
Soul Plane. Oh, nice. I'd never even heard of that. I thought that squirrel that came in from the cabin was from SpongeBob SquarePants, but maybe that was in a dream I had. Anyway, Tony's like, I did not see it, so I do not know what you're referring to. But hey, we're back here with retired Staff Sergeant Tony Housey from up at Camp Ripley, Minnesota, and a part of the leadership of the Military Mental Health Coalition. That's a mouthful. Tell me what that means and what the heck you do.
Yeah, it is a mouthful, and it's really blowing the trumpets to introduce yourself, isn't it? I mean, that's a big picture right there. The Military Mental Health Coalition. So, we are a bunch of folks that are helping to turn the tide a little bit on what mental health is and how mental health is received, not only by folks that might be enduring some type of mental situation or whatnot, but also by providers. So.
What now? We had a lovely woman from the St. Cloud VA on the show a couple of weeks ago. But for people who might not have seen that show, tell us a little bit about what the situation is around mental health with the military and why it's such an important situation that a coalition like this is necessary.
Well, uniquely, I might be able to explain it from my own point of view. I was, like I said before, I was a tanker for 16 years. And, whether it was the tank that was broken or you that were broken, if you admitted that you were broken, you weren't usable. So that was the kind of army, that was the kind of military that we had at the time. Whether it was personal stuff at home or a cold or, some type of mental concern or whatnot, if you were broken, you weren't usable. So I myself suppressed a lot of things that could have been fixed on the spot, or over time. And that's how I kept my tank running. That's how I stayed a tank commander on my tank. And that was not the correct answer at the time. So a coalition like this is able to kind of share that scenario, that stigma a little bit, and get that information out there to help bypass all the ickiness that goes around the term of mental health. And it is straight ickiness, like all the tag words that get put on it, diagnosis, disorder, illness, all those tag words that make you insufficient because of what's going on in your head or your heart.
Yeah, and that's something I think that as military, and I know military is very much women and men, but I think men as well, even if they aren't in the military, already put that stigma on themselves. And then you take a gentleman who's in the military, and boy, we got a double whammy there. But even for the women in the military, there are all sorts of other issues that they face that talk about just not comfortable sharing that maybe I'm not feeling my best today, and you don't want to get sidelined. It's a big part of what, and I think what I'm hearing you say, Tony, is that this is a change that's come about from maybe back when you first started in the Army. What do you think is happening differently from back 20 years ago?
It really is an alpha personality type of an organization, and that's whether you're a man or a woman. That's not going to be a difference. I've seen plenty of leaders doing extraordinary things while they were crying. So it's the kind of thing that you still have to do your job, and you still have to muscle up and go forward with it. But the things that are changing over time is that the explanation and the education, which is, from my perspective, of huge importance. If you understand why, or at least have an inkling of where it's coming from, it's a little bit easier to digest. It's a little bit easier to work with, and it's a little bit easier to cope with. So the amount of information and the amount of education that we are receiving now, and that we're translating back to the military, back to the soldiers, the sailors, airmen, Marines, Coast Guard, it's all starting to blend in and starting to make that difference.
The coalition itself, from what I remember when I first gone up to Camp Ripley for the first one, which was I think 2017 possibly, was really what seemed to me was a reach out across the aisle to the civilian population, and especially civilian caregivers, in understanding that the culture around military and the Guard and veterans and things like that, part of that, especially around mental health, was that we do kind of say, I'm going to take care of this myself. I don't need anybody's help, that it's hard enough to reach out for it. But then when you reach out to somebody who doesn't really get what it means to have come from a military background, and they're like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, I made this rifle out of a stick one time when I was a kid, so I get where you're coming from. And it's like, no, I don't think you do. Right. Is that really what the coalition is continuing to do, is kind of bridge that gap of understanding?
Absolutely. That education and that information going to our providers. I'll give you an example from my experience. I had two types of extremes when I first started looking for help with my mental questions and whatnot. I either had a a Vietnam veteran who was telling you, well, this is the way I did it, and this is the way you're going to do it, and it's all going to work out, right? The other side of it was that I had a civilian who had no idea about, hey, I'm in the military. I am a staff sergeant. I'm a tank commander. I lead from the front, and I need to figure this out. So you need to give me the tools to do that. So it was just a constant roll back and forth of things that just weren't meshing up. So what the coalition does, and, especially with these conferences, is it gives the opportunity to help educate these different providers about what military culture and competency is like, and what the different branches and different organizations and different jobs do, and what they're put under. And it helps just educate them. It gives them the tools they need to work in their own practice.
So with this conference, is it mainly for military people, for care providers, or is it something that the community could attend if they wanted to?
Community-wise, you might get lost in the sauce a little bit, to be honest with you. For the year that we had both military and civilian providers and military leaders in the conference, we actually had a really good dynamic going on, and the conversations about what it was and how it worked and where it was going, and just the kind of general ball of information that was being spun throughout the room. It was really good. The conference itself is really geared towards providers. It helps with that information. We provide CEUs. We really do the reach out and give up information that a lot of people just haven't seen in their daily stuff.
So how is it going to work this year? I remember how it worked when it was live, and I remember bouncing around to different rooms and being able to see breakout sessions and things. What's going to be different? How's it going to look this year, and what are some of the topics you might be covering?
This year we're going virtual, because of the COVID situation and whatnot. So we're gonna play the virtual game. We're gonna do our best to keep that same familiarization of bouncing from rooms to rooms. Hopefully, it's not bouncing from misconnected internet connections or things like that. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, some of the topics, like a lot of mental health conferences are generally one type of theme or one conference idea, and then there's different subtopics in that. We kind of have a bigger spool of different topics, so we'll go from everything from suicide prevention up to substance abuse, and we're actually going to talk about, with one of our main presenters, we're going to talk about the interaction that the military had when we came back from Iraq during the initial phases of the war, kind of Minnesota's baptism back into fire as far as activating military and how to deal with families and returning service members.
Wow. So tell me a little bit about the day. Is it what day is it, first off, and is it an all-day thing?
It is an all-day thing, and it's May 7th. And we'll kick off right away in the morning. I believe 8 o'clock in the morning we're going to kick off, and we're going to have a short presentation from the state and from the military, and then we're going to go through a bunch of different topics, and it should be a lot of fun. It's going to be really exciting.
Also, kind of kicking it off really official and everything with kind of an honor guard and.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to have the national anthem that plays in the beginning, just
nice.
Like we do with all of our military events. So it'll be fun.
If people are still interested, you have a website where people can go and get information about. People can still register. I take it, right?
Yep, people can still register. They can either find us on social media, on a lot of different platforms, or through the website itself, which is under the Military Mental Health Coalition.
And the website, I believe, is Military Mental Health Coalition. Is it .org or
.org? Yep.
.org. So if Gabriel, if you can get that thrown up there so we can have it for people. Military Mental Health Coalition.org. There it is. Wow, he is quick with the fingers.
He's on it.
There it is, right there. You see it? Woo! Well, Tony can't see it, but it's there. And it's May 7th. And they can find all the information about getting registered. We talked about a little earlier that there are also some vendor opportunities if either caregivers or organizations who would like to have a presence through a virtual booth of kind of showing what they have that in correlation to the services, that they can actually be a vendor on that event, right?
Certainly.
That's great. Tony, we want to thank you so much for your time. We look forward to talking to other members of your team, and I plan on being there on the 7th to see what's going on. So thanks for joining us and coming on virtually. This worked out pretty good. So obviously, if we got this going, hopefully the Army can do something better than I can figure out.
Well, we won't give away that secret yet. We'll see.
Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Housey from the Military Mental Health Coalition. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with Jeremiah Rich. Music. Yes. Stick around.
Thank you.
Talking to veterans about the real
All right, have a
issues
good
they're
day.
dealing with can be awkward and uncomfortable. We think to ourselves, I never served. How could I understand? They'll talk about it when they're ready. And then we wonder why they don't want to talk. But when their behavior changes, when they withdraw to themselves, increase substance use, or even talk about hurting themselves, it's time to act. Because if we don't, our families and relationships will suffer. Ask the hard questions. Listen to the veterans in your life and show you care. Make the call. It matters. When you recognize a veteran is in crisis, call the Veterans Crisis Line at 1-800-273-8255 and press 1.
You have served our country and made us proud. Many of you are still serving. Some of you have come home to our communities where you continue to lead and contribute. Some have come back from deployment to find new challenges at home. Every family can have challenges. In or out of uniform, we need you to continue to serve and help your battle buddies, families, and communities. It's important that we all learn the 5 signs of emotional suffering: personality change, agitation, withdrawal, poor self-care, and hopelessness. If you or someone you know is experiencing one or more of these signs, reach out and offer to help. I reached out for the support I needed, and it made all the difference. This is how we keep our units, our families, and our nation strong. Visit changedirection.org.
That message brought to you by SAMHSA, Minnesota. Thank you. We didn't need to see my document folders on my computer. Thank you again to Tony Housey. That very interesting. And again, I brought that up because I had no idea until I had gone up there. Just everything going on up at Camp Ripley. They do tours. There's a museum that Tony helps keep up and running, where they have vintage aircraft and tanks and all on display. Very interesting to go up there. I'm not quite sure. I should have asked him what it's like now during COVID, if people can still go up and attend the museum exhibits, but I'll find that out and we'll get that on for you by the end of the night. Up next, you may have heard the name Jeremiah Rich before, singer-songwriter, and it might have been right here. Or it might be from his multiple postings of new songs that he breaks and records right at home in very good quality as well, and releases them. And they're not only moving and well written and well crafted, but they also really touched for me a chord about my recovery and some of the places I've been in, some of my darker times with my mental health challenges. And it just these couple songs that I heard him play over the last month or so, the newer ones, and I was just like, boy, would you come on here and let other people hear those? My hope is that you're going to enjoy it as much as I do, and that we're going to see a lot more of him moving forward over the rest of this year. We're really hoping to have him available for some things that we're going to do come summertime live. So without further ado, please welcome the incredible Jeremiah Rich.
Thanks for having me. Again, that was cool. Just the other night, text from Chris, hey, could you come back on? I'm like, sure. So I'm really glad to be here, especially because I've been looking for a bass player, and I can't find one. I'm looking for this guy here. You might be able to find him. He's wearing his spandex. I hear his name's Chris Shaw.
Oh,
there
man.
we go. There's the photo.
Come
yeah.
on.
I can put this down then.
Harsh. Wow.
Yeah, so I wanted that Chris Shaw, not this one. But going for the hair metal look and everything. Well,
that's a gotcha moment there. All
right. This song's called Helium. Posted it this last week. You may have heard it. So thanks for listening. It's about those moments before you go to bed. The days can be tough, especially if you struggle with a mental health illness. And for me, those moments right before I'm about to fall asleep are some of my favorite, because nothing else typically is going to happen in the day. Everything that's going to happen is done. So that's kind of what this song is about. The sun squints through sky bushes, takes one big breath and pushes deep inside Earth's golden heart to gather rays for day starts. The leaves rustle their good night, drunk on summer moon high. Royal moments before the dose. Head vacation, everything goes. And you float on helium. You float on helium. You float on helium. You float on helium. You wake to mirror ritual, saying happy is habitual. The pre-coffee meditation, dose of spiritual medication. All's not right, yet you're well. You note that life's not hell. And you float on helium. You float on helium. You float on helium. You float on helium. Citizen sun, soak and shine. All the things will roll on fine. Citizen sun, soak and shine. All the things will roll on fine. Citizen sun, soak and shine. All things so roll on fine. You float on helium. You float on helium. You float on helium. You float on helium. Thank you.
Even Millie the Wonder Dog is loving it. Woo! Pump it up. That's a beautiful song. We were talking a little bit earlier about the phrasing, and all of it is great. But what really struck me was the beauty of that, the turning of the phrase of the beginning of that second verse of you wake to. How does it go again?
You awake to mirror ritual, saying happy is habitual.
Saying happy is habitual. Man, between the times that you try and get up and paint on a smile and say, here we go, I gotta make myself believe that it's okay to get through this. That really touched me. And, just your playing style is very unique. Tell us a little bit about kind of your process with both songwriting and how you have how you've gone about learning to play in this fashion that you do.
So as far as like the songwriting goes, the last few years I've written songs for many years, but they never rose to a level that really were speaking to me. I kind of threw words together, didn't worry about rhyme and all that kind of stuff. And when I got sober, I mean, I had a lot of time because I was in prison. But beyond that, so when I was there, I still was able to listen to music. And so I collected as many songs as I could while I was there, and I just really listened to how things were phrased and what it was about those songs that really touched me. And used that time to become a better writer. Read every book I could find about writing. Even Stephen King did a book about writing, and just reading through that, because I'm not a novelist. I don't come up with stories, but I wanted to start doing that for my songs that are either allegorical or at least very representative of things in my life. So the words I'll spend, I'll go through 20 iterations of a song, because the next one that I'm doing actually has turned into 4 or 5 different songs over the years, until finally the song itself has come together. It's called Magical. I think you asked about the playing style too. That really comes, I like rhythmic stuff. I especially like rhythmic stuff because it made more sense to me. The notes seemed easier, I guess, at first. Now, like on that last song, you heard all the single note work I did at the end. It was that kind of stuff that I heard that I thought I could never do. And so instead, I focused on the strumming and what could I do that I haven't heard many people do. And that's where the strum style comes from. But now that I've kind of developed that as my signature move, I kind of want to expand. So
that's great. That's great. Yeah. Well, I want to talk to you after. I want you to play another song if you would, but I also then want to talk to you about this discussion we had after the last time you were on about. And I'm glad you brought up the time in prison, because I always leave that up to people to decide what they want to mention about what brings them to where they are today. But I want you to tell people about this idea for the nonprofit that you are looking to start, and why, how music played such a big part in you getting through your time in prison.
Yeah, so the nonprofit I'm starting is called Beyond Substance. We've already kind of soft launched. It's a collective of individuals committed to a better way of living. And I figured, hey, if that's the name I came up with while I was locked up, and because I wanted to start living better then, not wait until I got out, but then. And so people that I met through that journey and through the recovery community, because when I got out, I voluntarily went to a 90-day inpatient treatment program because I really wanted to solidify my sobriety. I hit 23 months sober on Saturday.
Hey, good for
so
you, man.
Almost to 2 years. Woo! Thank you. So beyond substance, one thing I want to start is something called Instruments for Inmates. I was very fortunate that my parents helped me get this. This is actually the guitar I had there. It's
in prison.
Yeah, it's a $250 guitar. It's all I have right now. So, but it works. And when I got it, it transformed my time. It took months to get it. There were all these things to figure out. It ended up costing, it's a $240 guitar. It ended up costing like almost $500 for my parents to help me get it because of all the extra fees and stuff you got to pay. And some of that's understandable. Some of that's really tough.
Just to have it in jail, in prison with you?
Yeah, because you have to order it. There are all these reasons. And it has to be brand new and stuff. So with all those things, it can be really hard to get one, especially if you have one of the jobs there. So if you have a short time, which would be, even as long as 4 or 5 years, it could be hard to get a guitar even during that time with how little the jobs pay. So anyway, that's what we're hoping to start, helping them get instruments.
Excellent. Well, what do you got on tap here?
So I have another song called Magical.
Nice.
And are we doing a commercial first, or are we going right to the song?
What do you think, Gabriel? We going right on?
Let's go right on.
Let's go right on.
Cool, just want to make sure. So this one, kind of finished it yesterday. I hope you enjoy it.
Finished it yesterday.
We meet through slight collision and laugh at the chance precision. She requests my supervision. Our chemistry is pure fusion. She imitates my grin, spilling the secrets within. She's magic, she is magic, she is magical. She's magic, she is magic, she is magical. In that first collision we stay, riffing on sweet nothing wordplay. The delights in yay over nay chases inhibition away. I fire and take aim with her favorite pet name. She's magic, she is magic, she is magical. She's magic, she is magic, she is magical. La 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 la. La 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 la. She's magic, she is magic, she is magical. She's magic, she is magic, she is magical. She's magic, she is magic, she is magical. She's magic, she is magic, she is magical.
Yes. We're not worthy. We're not worthy. Tell him, Millie. Millie, just drinking all my magical beverage over here. Love that. I love that. Upbeat and just what a nice thought about a relationship. How you can have somebody be that kind of person in your life. It's out there. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is Jeremiah Rich. You can find more of his music on musicbyjr.com, tunesbyjr.com, and on YouTube and on Facebook. He is out there. And these songs just keep coming, don't they?
About once a week is the release cadence right now.
And I'm really excited about this idea about the guitars into prisons because, boy, I know, for people who play music and people who love music and have time on their hands, that could make all the difference like it did for you. So we will look to connect more with you in the future. Go ahead. Go say hi to him. Go say hi. He's over there. And keep in touch about understanding what's going on with your organization and how we might be able to do things together. That cause is very important. We want to thank also our other guest, Anthony Housey, for being here. Again, remember, if you want to learn more about the upcoming Military Mental Health Coalition Conference, that's coming up on May 7th. That's a Friday all day online. You can just go to militarymentalhealthcoalition.org and find out about registering for that. Again, Mr. Jeremiah Rich, thank you so much. Please remember that there are people out there. Okay, that is just going to haunt me for, I don't know where the heck you people get that. Ouch. There are people out there, even if you wear spandex like that, who understand what you're going through, and you're not alone. From everybody here at the Heart and Mind Connection, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.
You're surprised with that picture?